The space station called Harmony's Rest floated in the darkness like a bright star. It hung above a beautiful blue planet named 4. The station was home to 300 people from 12 different species. Humans lived there. So did the tall, blue-skinned. The small, furry were there too. Scientists worked in the labs. Diplomats talked in meeting rooms. Families ate dinner together. Children played in the corridors. It was a peaceful place. A place where different species learned to live together. A place where the galaxy's future was being built, one conversation at a time. On the morning when everything changed, a little girl named was eating breakfast with her family. She was 7 years old. She had dark hair that her mother had tied into 2 braids. She was talking about a dream she had the night before. Her brother was 12. He was reading something on his tablet and pretending not to listen to his sister, but he was smiling a little. He always smiled when told her stories. Their mother was making tea. She was a doctor on the station. She worked with species from all over the galaxy. She knew how to heal wounds that human doctors had never seen before. Their father was the human ambassador. He was an important man. He spent his days talking to leaders from other species. He tried to build peace. He tried to build understanding. He believed that the galaxy could be better if people just talked to each other. This morning, he was just a father. He was watching his daughter wave her arms around as she described a purple monster from her dream. He was drinking his coffee. He was happy. Then the alarm started. The sound was loud and sharp. Red lights began flashing in the corridors. A voice came over the speakers. It was calm but serious. All residents, please remain in your quarters. This is not a drill. All residents, please remain in your quarters. Put down his coffee. His face changed. The happy father was gone. Now he was the ambassador. Stay here, he told his family. Lock the door. I need to find out what is happening. He left before could say anything. She gathered her children close and waited. In the command center of Harmony's Rest, chaos was growing. Station Commander O stood in front of the main screen. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been a military officer for 30 years before taking this post. She thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. The screen showed 17 ships dropping out of hyperspace. They were not military ships. They were not trading ships. They were pirate vessels. Their hulls were painted black and red. Their weapons were already powering up. How long until they reach us? Commander O asked. 17 minutes, her officer replied. His voice was shaking. 17 minutes. That was not enough time to evacuate, not enough time to call for help, not enough time to do anything except watch death approach. Ambassador arrived at the command center. He saw the ships on the screen. He recognized the largest one. Everyone recognized it. The Ravager's throne. He said. The name felt cold in his mouth. Was the Pirate King. He was a species known for their strength and their violence. They were tall. They had 4 arms. Their skin was covered in thick scales. They were built for war. But even among them was special. He was 8 feet tall. His scales were dark green, almost black. His eyes were yellow and cold. He had been a pirate for 40 years. He had attacked 47 stations. He had killed thousands of people. No one had ever stopped him. No one had ever caught him. The Galactic Council had tried everything. Military strikes, bounty hunters, assassination attempts. Nothing worked. Was too smart, too strong, too careful. And now he was here. The communication screen lit up. His face appeared. He was sitting in a large chair made of metal and bone. Behind him, his crew moved in the shadows. His 4 arms were folded across his massive chest. He looked bored. Harmony's Rest, he said. His voice was deep and rough. You have something I want. 300 lives. The Galactic Council will pay 2 billion credits for their return. If they do not pay in 72 hours, I will start killing hostages. 1 every hour, starting with the children. Commander O stepped forward. Her voice was steady. "This station is under the protection of the Galactic Council. If you attack us—" Laughed, it was an ugly sound. "The Council is 12 light-years away. Their nearest fleet is 19 hours out. By the time they arrive, you will all be dead and I will be gone." He leaned forward. His yellow eyes filled the screen. "Do not fight. Do not run. Do not be stupid. Accept what is happening. Maybe some of you will live." The transmission ended. 17 minutes later, the pirates boarded Harmony's Rest. They came through the airlocks with weapons ready. They moved through the corridors like a wave of death. Anyone who resisted was killed immediately. The station's small security force tried to fight. They lasted 4 minutes. 12 guards died. The pirates did not lose a single soldier. The residents were gathered in the main hall, all 300 of them, humans, scientists, diplomats, families, children. Held his daughter in his arms, was crying quietly, stood close to his mother trying to be brave. His face was pale but calm. Walked among the hostages. He looked at them like a farmer looking at livestock. He stopped in front of Ambassador. "You are the human ambassador," he said. It was not a question. "I am," replied. He kept his voice steady. "These people are innocent. They have nothing to do with politics or money. Let the families go. Keep the diplomats if you must. Keep me. But let the children go." Tilted his head. For a moment, something like curiosity crossed his face. "You would trade your life for strangers." "I would trade my life for children who have done nothing wrong." The Pirate King was quiet for a long moment. Then he laughed again. "Humans are strange creatures. You are weak. You are small. You live such short lives, and yet you talk as if you matter." He turned away. "No one leaves. Everyone waits. The council will pay or everyone dies. That is the only choice." He walked back to his soldiers. Orders were given. Guards were posted. The waiting began. 12 light-years away, the Galactic Council received the ransom demand. Emergency meetings were called. Politicians argued. Military leaders made plans. Economists calculated the cost. 2 billion credits was a lot of money, but 300 lives were 300 lives. Some said pay, some said fight, some said negotiate. No one agreed, no one could decide. While they argued, the clock was ticking. And somewhere else, in a small apartment on a quiet moon, a woman named Park received a message. It was short, just a few lines. It told her about the hostages, about the Pirate King, about the 72-hour deadline. Was 43 years old. She had gray streaks in her dark hair. She was not tall. She was not strong. She looked like an ordinary woman, the kind of woman you might pass on the street without noticing. But Park was not ordinary. She read the message twice, then she closed her eyes. When she opened them again, there was something different in her face, something hard, something determined. She stood up and began to pack a small bag. She did not pack weapons. She did not pack armor. She did not call for help. She packed a change of clothes, a data tablet, a small leather satchel that had belonged to her husband 22 years ago before he died. Then she walked to her ship, a beaten-up old cargo hauler called the Quiet Step. She entered the coordinates for Harmony's Rest. And she started flying toward the Pirate King. Park flew through the darkness of space. Her ship, the Quiet Step, was old and slow. The paint was peeling. The engines made strange sounds. Any pirate who saw it would laugh. It looked like a ship that should have died years ago. But the Quiet Step had carried through many dangers. It had taken her to places where no one else would go. It had brought her home every time. As she flew, thought about her past. She had not always been the person she was now. Once, long ago, she had been a young woman with simple dreams. She had wanted a quiet life, a family, a home. She had found love. His name was, he was a kind man with a gentle smile. He worked as a trader moving goods between planets. He was not rich. He was not important. He was just good. They had married young. They had built a small life together. They had been happy. Then the slavers came. It happened on a small station in the outer territories. Had gone to make a trade, simple business, nothing dangerous, or so they thought. The slavers took him. They took 40 other people too. They sold them to the mines on a distant world, places where workers died within months. Searched for him. She spent everything she had. She called in every favor. She begged every authority for help. No one helped. No one cared, was just a small trader, not important enough to save. By the time found him, it was too late. He had died in the mines, alone, far from home, far from her. Something broke in that day, and something new was born. She learned that the slavers had been funded by a wealthy merchant named. He was a merchant prince, one of the richest beings in the galaxy. He made his fortune from suffering, from slavery, from death. The law could not touch him. He was too powerful, too protected, too far above the rules that governed ordinary people. Could not get justice for her husband, but she could do something else. She could make sure that what happened to her never happened to others. She began to learn. She studied psychology. She studied negotiation. She studied the art of reading people, of understanding what they really wanted. She learned about power, how to find it, how to use it, how to take it away. She became someone new, someone the galaxy had never seen before. The first time Park walked into an impossible situation, she was 30 years old. A small group of rebels had taken hostages on a mining colony. They wanted political change. They wanted their voices heard. The authorities wanted to send soldiers. Asked for 1 hour, just 1 hour to talk. She walked into the rebel stronghold alone. No weapons, no backup, just her words. 2 hours later, she walked out with every hostage. The rebels surrendered peacefully. No one died. No one understood how she did it. After that, her reputation grew. She became known in certain circles. Diplomats whispered her name. Intelligence agencies kept files on her. Criminal organizations learned to fear her. They called her the closer because she closed impossible deals. They called her the ghost because she appeared from nowhere and vanished the same way. They called her the woman who walks because she walked into places no one else could enter and walked out with whatever she wanted. She never used violence, she never threatened, she never lied. She just talked, she just listened, she just found the thing that people wanted more than what they were asking for. And she gave it to them. Now flying toward the Pirate King prepared herself. She pulled up everything she knew about his history, his crimes, his personality, his desires. He had been born on a colony world. His family was poor. His father was a miner who died young. His mother struggled to feed her children. Young had joined a pirate crew at 15. He killed his first captain at 19 and took over the ship. By 30, he commanded a small fleet. By 40, he was the most feared pirate in 3 sectors. He was brutal, he was smart, he was patient. He planned his attacks carefully. He never took risks he did not need to take. But he had weaknesses. Everyone had weaknesses. Was proud. He believed he was special. He believed he was destined for greatness. He wanted to be remembered. He wanted history to know his name. He was also practical. He did not kill for pleasure. He killed because it was useful, because it sent a message, because it made people afraid. If could offer him something more useful than ransom money, something that would make him greater, she might have a chance. She also knew about his past. The authorities had tried to catch him many times. They had sent bounty hunters. They had set traps. They had offered rewards. None of it worked, was too careful. But once, years ago, someone had betrayed him. A member of his own crew had sold information to the authorities, had found out. He had killed the traitor slowly over many days. Since then, trusted no one completely. He was always watching, always suspicious, always waiting for the next betrayal. This was important. filed it away in her mind. As she flew, she also prepared her gift, the information she would offer in exchange for the hostages. For 22 years had been watching Merchant Prince. She could not bring her husband back. She could not make pay through the courts, but she could wait. She could watch. She could gather information. And she had learned his secrets. Had a hidden vault. It was buried deep in an asteroid field, far from any shipping lanes. No one knew about it except himself and a few trusted servants. Inside that vault was his true wealth. 43 billion credits in rare minerals, ancient art, and untraceable currency. Money that no government knew about. Money he had stolen from 100 different victims over 100 years. Had spent years finding this vault. She had bribed. She had hacked. She had pieced together clues from a dozen different sources. She could not steal the vault herself. She did not have the ships. She did not have the crew. She did not have the weapons. But did. This was her offer. Let the hostages go and receive the location of 43 billion credits, more money than he had ever stolen before, more money than the ransom 10 times over. It was a good offer, a logical offer, a practical offer. Hoped it would be enough. Her ship's computer beeped. She had entered the sector where Harmony's Rest waited. Ahead, she could see the pirate fleet. 17 ships, hanging in the darkness like predators waiting to strike. In the center was the Ravager's throne, his flagship, the largest and most dangerous vessel in the fleet. Took a deep breath. She had done this many times before. She had walked into situations that should have killed her. She had faced beings that could tear her apart with their bare hands. She was still alive. She was still walking. She opened a communication channel. This is the cargo vessel Quiet Step. I am requesting permission to dock with the Ravager's throne. I have a proposal for Captain. The response came quickly. It was a harsh voice, speaking broken galactic standard. Unknown vessel, you will be destroyed if you approach. Turn back now. My name is Park, she said calmly. Tell your captain, he will want to hear what I have to say. There was a long pause, waited. She knew her name would mean something. Even in the criminal underworld, people had heard of the woman who walks. Even pirates told stories. The voice came back. It sounded different now, less certain. Hold your position. We are contacting the captain. Waited, minutes passed. She watched the pirate ships through her viewport. They were impressive in a terrible way, built for destruction, built for fear. Then a new voice came through, deep, rough, powerful. Park, it was himself. I have heard your name. Then you know I am not here to waste your time. I know you talk people into doing things they do not want to do. I know you have ended sieges with words. I know people fear you, even though you carry no weapon. I am not here to make you fear me, said. I am here to make you rich. Another pause. Could almost feel thinking on the other end of the connection. You have courage, human, or stupidity. I have not decided which. Let me dock. Give me 1 hour. If you do not like what I offer, you can kill me and continue with your plan. You lose nothing. Except 1 hour. 1 hour out of 72. A small price for the possibility of 43 billion credits. The silence stretched, kept her breathing steady. Her hands were still on the controls. Finally spoke. Dock at Base 7. Come alone. If I see weapons, if I see tricks, you die. Then I kill 10 hostages to make a point. No weapons, no tricks, just me and an offer. We will see. The channel closed. Guided the Quiet Step toward the Ravager's throne. The massive ship grew larger in her viewport. Its hull was covered in scars from 100 battles. Its weapons bristled like thorns. She was flying into the mouth of a monster. But Park had walked into monsters' mouths before. And she had always walked out. The airlock of the Ravager's throne opened with a hiss of cold air. Park stepped through, carrying only her small leather satchel. 7 warriors waited for her. They were massive. Each one was over 7 feet tall. Their scales gleamed under the harsh lights. Their 4 arms held weapons that could tear through metal. They looked at like she was an insect that had wandered into their home. Looked back at them calmly. She had seen bigger, she had faced worse. "I would like to see your captain," she said. Her voice was polite, patient, like she was asking for directions on a street corner. One of the warriors laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound. "Small human thinks she can demand things. Maybe we kill her now, save the captain's time." "You could," agreed. "But then your captain would never know what I came to offer, and when he found out later he would be very angry. At you." The warrior stopped laughing. His yellow eyes narrowed. Another warrior, older than the others, stepped forward. "Search her." They searched her. They found nothing except the data tablet in her satchel. No weapons, no transmitters, no tricks. The older warrior studied her for a long moment. "Follow. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not touch anything. Do not run." "I never run," said. They led her through the corridors of the Ravager's throne. The ship was dark and cold. The walls were made of black metal. Strange trophies hung everywhere. Weapons from defeated enemies. Flags from conquered stations. Skulls from species did not recognize. This ship was a monument to death, a temple of fear. Walked through it like she was walking through a garden. They reached the command center. It was a large room filled with screens and controls. Pirates of different species worked at various stations. They all stopped to stare at the small human woman who had come to visit their king. And in the center of the room, on a throne made of metal and bone, sat. He was even larger than had expected, 8 feet tall at least. His scales were so dark they were almost black. His 4 arms were thick with muscle. His yellow eyes watched her with cold interest. He wore armor made from the shells of some creature did not know. Around his neck hung a chain of small objects. Realized they were teeth, teeth from his enemies. This was the Pirate King. This was the being who had terrorized 3 sectors for 40 years. This was the monster that no one could stop. Bowed her head slightly, a gesture of respect, not submission. "Thank you for seeing me, Captain." Did not move, he did not blink, he just watched her. "You are smaller than I imagined," he said. His voice was like stones grinding together. "The stories made you sound more impressive." "Stories usually do." "They say you once walked into the Dominion Syndicate's fortress and walked out with their leadership in chains. They say you ended a war between thee and the with a single conversation. They say you have never failed." "The stories exaggerate. I have failed many times. I just do not let my failures stop me." Leaned forward. His massive body shifted on the throne. "Why are you here, Park? Do you think you can talk me out of 2 billion credits?" "No," said. "I think I can offer you something better." "There is nothing better than 2 billion credits. There is when the alternative is dying in 6 hours. The room went silent. Every pirate stopped what they were doing. Every eye turned too. His expression did not change, but something moved behind his yellow eyes, something dangerous. "Explain." Reached into her satchel. The warriors around her tensed, hands on their weapons. She slowly pulled out her data tablet and held it up so everyone could see. "Right now, the Galactic Council is arguing. Half of them want to pay your ransom. Half of them want to send the fleet. The fleet is 19 hours away, but there is a faction that wants to act sooner." She tapped the tablet. A hologram appeared above it, showing military data. "Admiral commands the 3rd Response Fleet. He has been hunting you for 15 years. You killed his brother at the siege of Praxis 3. He hates you more than any being in the galaxy." His eyes narrowed. "I remember, his brother died slowly. He begged for mercy. I gave him none. Admiral has 3 fast attack ships hidden in the asteroid field 2 sectors away. They are not part of the main fleet. They are his personal squadron, operating outside official orders. He has been waiting for a chance like this." Let that sink in. In 6 hours, those ships will jump into this sector. They will not try to negotiate. They will not try to rescue hostages. They will destroy your fleet completely. They will kill everyone. You, your crew, the hostages, everyone. You are lying. I have never lied in my life, Captain. Ask anyone who knows me. My word is the only currency I have, and I protect it carefully. Was silent for a long moment. His 4 hands gripped the arms of his throne. How do you know this? Because Admiral told me himself. 3 years ago, I helped his daughter escape from a difficult situation. He owes me a debt. When I asked him about his plans for you, he told me everything. Why would he tell you? Because he thought I would warn the council. He thought I would stop him. He did not expect me to come here instead. Stared at her. Why did you come here? Lowered the tablet. She looked directly into the Pirate King's eyes. Because I do not want those hostages to die. Not because of your ransom. Not because of Admiral's revenge. Not because of politics or money or pride. They are 300 innocent people who woke up yesterday thinking about their families and their work. They do not deserve to be caught in the middle of other people's wars. You came here to save them. A human woman alone against my entire fleet. Yes. Laughed. It was not the cruel laugh of before. It was something else. Something almost like respect. You are either the bravest human I have ever met, or the most foolish. Perhaps both. He leaned back on his throne, his 4 arms crossed over his chest. So you say I will die in 6 hours. Even if this is true, what do you offer me instead? Held up the tablet again. 43 billion credits. Every pirate in the room reacted. Some gasped, some laughed, some cursed in languages did not understand. His expression did not change, but his eyes grew brighter. 43 billion. That is more than I have stolen in my entire life. Yes, it is the private vault of Merchant Prince, hidden in an asteroid field in the outer territories. No one knows about it except him and a few trusted servants. The location is on this tablet. She set the tablet on the floor between them. Let me walk out of here with every hostage, right now. In exchange, I give you this information. You leave this sector before Admiral arrives. You raid's vault. You become the richest pirate in the history of the galaxy. Did not move. His eyes stayed on his face. Why would you give me this? What do you gain? 22 years ago funded a slave operation. They took my husband. He died in the mines, alone, far from home. His voice did not shake, but something in her eyes changed, something old and cold and patient. The law cannot touch. He is too powerful, too protected. But you, Captain, you are not bound by laws. You can take everything from him. You can leave him with nothing. You want revenge. I want justice. I want him to know what it feels like to lose everything and survive. That is my payment. Was silent for a very long time. The entire room waited. No one moved. No one breathed. Finally, the Pirate King spoke. How do I know this information is real? How do I know the vault exists? You do not know, not for certain, but you know my name. You know my reputation. In all the years I have been doing this, have I ever lied? Has anyone ever accused me of breaking my word? Considered this. He looked at his officers. They looked back at him with uncertain eyes. She is telling the truth about Admiral, said the older warrior who had escorted. Our scouts have detected unknown ships in the nearby sectors. We thought they were traders, but if they are military. In the vault, asked. If it exists, 43 billion credits would be significant. Turned back to, his yellow eyes bore into hers. You walk in here alone. No weapons, no backup. You offer me a fortune and ask for 300 lives in return. You expect me to trust you. I expect you to be practical, Captain. You can have 2 billion credits and death in 6 hours, or you can have 43 billion credits and a future. The choice is simple math. Laughed again. This time there was something like admiration in it. I understand now. I understand why they call you the woman who walks. You do not fight. You do not threaten. You just find what people want and give it to them. Everyone wants something. The trick is knowing what. And what do I want, Park? What do you think the Pirate King desires? Met his gaze steadily. You want to be remembered. You want history to know your name. You want to be more than just another pirate who lived and died and was forgotten. She gestured at the room around them. 2 billion credits will not give you that. You will be just another ransom story, a footnote in the Council's budget reports, but 43 billion credits, stealing the private fortune of a merchant prince, that will be a legend. That will be a story told for centuries. Was silent, his eyes were bright. You see me clearly, human, more clearly than anyone has in many years. He stood up. He was even more massive standing. He towered over like a mountain over a pebble. You have 1 hour to get the hostages off my station. Take the transport ships in Bay 12. After that, my fleet leaves. Nodded, and the tablet. Picked it up. He looked at it for a moment. Then he looked at. If this information is false, I will find you. I will kill everyone you have ever loved. I will destroy everything you have ever built. The information is real. And Captain, after you take everything leave him alive. I want him to suffer. Smiled. It was a terrible smile, full of teeth and darkness. We understand each other, Park. He turned to his officers. Let the hostages go. The word spread through the Ravager's throne like fire through dry grass. The hostages were being released, all of them, now. The pirates did not understand. They had spent months planning this raid. They had risked their lives taking the station. They had expected a fortune in ransom money. And now their captain was letting the hostages go for free. Some grumbled, some questioned, but no one argued with. No one had ever argued with him and lived. In the holding area of the pirate ship, 300 hostages waited in fear. They had been there for hours. Some had been hurt when the pirates took the station. Some were sick. Some were too young to understand what was happening. Little sat on her father's lap. She had stopped crying, but her eyes were red. Her brother sat next to their mother, holding her hand. Ambassador held his family close and tried to think of a way out. He had been a diplomat for 20 years. He had talked his way through many difficult situations, but this was different. You could not negotiate with a pirate king. You could not reason with a monster. All he could do was wait, wait and hope, wait and pray. Then the doors opened. Pirates entered, but they did not have their weapons raised. They were not shouting orders. They looked confused. And behind them walked a woman. She was not tall. She was not young. She wore simple gray clothes and had silver streaks in her dark hair. She carried nothing except a small leather satchel. But she walked like she owned the ship. She walked like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. She walked like nothing in the universe could stop her. Ambassador stood up, holding in his arms. Who are you? The woman looked at him. Her eyes were calm and steady. My name is Park. I am here to take you home. Murmurs spread through the hostages. Some recognized the name. Some did not. But everyone could feel that something had changed. The fear in the room was starting to lift. How? Asked Commander O. She had a bruise on her face from resisting the pirates. How did you make them release us? I gave them something they wanted more than ransom money. The details do not matter. What matters is that we have 1 hour to get everyone to the transport ships. Can everyone walk? The hostages looked at each other. Some were injured, some were old, some were very young. We will help each other, said Doctor. Those who can walk will help those who cannot. We will all make it. Nodded. Good, follow me, stay together, do not speak to the pirates. Do not look at them, just walk. She turned and headed for the door. The hostages followed. They walked through the corridors of the Ravager's throne. Pirates lined the walls watching them pass. Some looked angry, some looked confused, some looked almost sad like they were watching a good meal escape. But none of them moved. None of them stopped the hostages, had given his order and his word was law. Led the group through the ship. She walked at a steady pace, not too fast, not too slow, fast enough to make good time, slow enough for the elderly and the injured to keep up. Behind her, the hostages formed a long line. Scientists helped diplomats. Parents carried children. Strangers supported strangers. It was a strange procession. 300 people from 12 species, walking through a pirate ship, led by a single human woman who had talked their way to freedom. As they walked, Young found himself near. He was curious about this woman who had appeared from nowhere. "How did you do it?" he asked quietly. "How did you make them let us go?" Glanced at him. She saw a 12-year-old boy trying to be brave, trying to understand a world that suddenly seemed much more dangerous than he had known. "I found out what their captain wanted," she said. "I gave it to him. He gave me what I wanted." "But he is a pirate. He kills people. How can you negotiate with someone like that?" "Everyone is the hero of their own story, young man. Even pirates, even monsters. They all have reasons for what they do. They all want something. If you can find out what they want, you can talk to anyone." "Thought about this. Is that what you do, find out what people want?" "It is what everyone should do. Listen to people. Understand them, even your enemies, especially your enemies. You cannot solve a problem if you do not understand it." They walked in silence for a moment, then asked another question. "Were you scared, coming here alone?" Was quiet for a moment. "Yes," she said finally. "I was scared. I am always scared, but fear does not stop me from doing what needs to be done. It just means I have to walk a little more carefully." Nodded. He would remember those words for the rest of his life. Behind them, Ambassador watched his son talking to the stranger. He held his daughter closer and felt something he had not felt since the pirates arrived. Hope. They reached the transport bay. 4 large ships waited there, old but functional. Enough room for all 300 hostages. Turned to face the group. "Board the ships quickly but carefully. Families stay together. Help those who need help. We leave in 20 minutes. The hostages began to board. There was no panic, no pushing. Everyone helped everyone else. The fear was turning into something new, something that felt almost like joy. Doctor organized the medical cases. She made sure the injured were comfortable. She checked on the elderly and the young. Commander O took charge of the boarding process. She counted heads. She made sure no one was left behind. Ambassador carried his daughter onto one of the ships, walked beside him, joined them a moment later. Said, her voice was small, "Are we going home?" "Yes, baby, we are going home." "Because of the nice lady." Ambassador looked out the ship's window. He could see standing in the bay, watching the boarding process. She looked so ordinary, so normal. How had someone like her done something so impossible? "Yes," he said, "because of the nice lady." When everyone was aboard, walked through each ship to make a final count. 300 people, all present, all safe. She was about to board the last ship when a voice stopped her. "Park." She turned, stood at the entrance to the bay. He was alone. No guards, no weapons. Just the Pirate King watching the woman who had walked into his ship and walked out with his prize. "Captain," she said, "I have been thinking about our conversation, about what you said, that everyone wants something." And walked closer. His massive form cast a shadow over everything. "You said you wanted justice for your husband. You said you wanted to suffer. I believe this is true, but I do not think it is the whole truth." Said nothing, she waited. "You also want to save people, not just these hostages. Everyone, you cannot stop yourself. It is who you are." "Perhaps." "Why? Why do you care so much about strangers? What do you gain from saving people you have never met?" was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer than before. When my husband died, I was alone. No one helped me. No one cared. The universe showed me that it does not care about small people, about ordinary lives. She looked up at me. I decided to care anyway. I decided that if the universe would not protect the small people, I would. Not because I gain anything. Not because anyone asked me to. Just because someone should. Studied her for a long time. His yellow eyes were unreadable. You are strange, human. Your species is strange. You are weak. You are small. You live such short lives. And yet you do things like this. Yes, we do. I do not understand you. You do not have to understand us. You just have to know that we will keep doing this. We will keep walking into impossible situations. We will keep saving people. We will keep caring, even when it makes no sense. Nodded slowly. I will remember you, Park. When the stories are told of the Pirate King, your name will be in them. The woman who walked into my ship and walked out with everyone. That is more than I expected. Thank you, Captain. She turned and walked toward the ship. Park. She stopped. If we meet again, I may have to kill you. I hope you understand. Looked over her shoulder. There was a small smile on her face. If we meet again, I will have another offer. I hope you understand. Laughed. It was a genuine laugh, full of something that might have been respect. Get out of here, human, before I change my mind. Boarded the ship, the doors closed, the engines powered up. And slowly, carefully, the 4 transport ships lifted off from the Ravager's throne and flew toward freedom. In the viewing port, watched the pirate fleet shrink behind them. The Ravager's throne was already turning, preparing to leave the sector. In 6 hours, Admiral's ships would arrive and find nothing but empty space. The hostages were safe. The pirates would get their fortune, would lose everything. It was not perfect justice. It was not a clean solution, but it was the best she could do. And sometimes, the best you can do is enough. Sat down in an empty seat and closed her eyes. She was tired, so tired. Every one of these missions took something from her, a piece of her energy, a piece of her hope. But they also gave something back. The faces of the children who would grow up because of her, the families that would stay together, the lives that would continue. That was worth any cost. She fell asleep as the ships flew toward safety. And for the first time in a long time, she did not dream of her husband dying alone in the mines. She dreamed of him smiling, proud of what she had become. The transport ships flew through the darkness of space for 6 hours. Behind them, the pirate fleet jumped to hyperspace and vanished. Ahead of them, a rescue fleet from the Galactic Council was racing to meet them. Inside the ships, the mood slowly changed. The fear faded. The tension eased. People began to talk, to laugh, to cry with relief. Parents held their children and thanked every god they knew. Friends embraced. Strangers who had helped each other through the crisis exchanged names and promised to stay in touch. Doctor moved through the ships, checking on the injured. Most were minor wounds, bruises, cuts, nothing life-threatening. The pirates had been rough, but they had not been trying to cause permanent damage. Commander O sat in the cockpit, watching the stars. She had failed to protect her station. She had failed to stop the pirates, but somehow everyone had survived. She did not understand how. She was not sure she ever would. Ambassador sat with his family, was asleep in her mother's arms, was awake, staring out the window at the stars. He said quietly, "That woman, Park, who is she really?" Thought about the question. He had been a diplomat for 20 years. He had met presidents and generals and kings. He had met the most powerful people in the galaxy. None of them compared to the woman who had walked into a pirate ship alone and walked out with 300 lives. "I do not know," he admitted. "I do not think anyone knows. She is just someone who cares." She said that to me, on the ship. She said she cares because someone should. That sounds about right. Was quiet for a moment. I want to be like her when I grow up. Looked at his son. He saw something new in the boy's eyes, a determination that had not been there before. That would be a good thing to be. 3 hours later, the rescue fleet arrived. The Galactic Council ships surrounded the transports and escorted them to safety. Medical teams boarded. Officials took statements. News reporters demanded interviews. The story spread across the galaxy in hours. The Pirate King had taken hostages. A single woman had walked in and walked out with everyone. No ransom paid, no shots fired, no deaths. It was impossible. It was incredible. It was the most amazing rescue in the history of the Galactic Council. Park avoided the reporters. She avoided the officials. She gave her statement quietly and then slipped away while everyone was focused on the hostages. She returned to her ship, the Quiet Step, which had been retrieved from the pirate fleet before they left. She climbed aboard, closed the door, and sat in the pilot's seat. She was alone again. She was always alone. But that was the price of doing what she did. People feared her. People did not understand her. People kept their distance because she made them uncomfortable. That was okay. She did not do this for thanks. She did not do it for fame. She did it because it needed to be done. She started the engines and plotted a course for home. Her small apartment on a quiet moon, a cup of tea, a warm bed, a few days of rest before the next crisis. But as she was about to launch, there was a knock on her airlock. She checked the external camera. Ambassador stood outside with his family, all 4 of them, waiting in the cold of the docking bay. Hesitated, then she opened the airlock. Ambassador, you should be with the medical teams. We are fine, said. We wanted to thank you properly before you disappeared. That is not necessary. It is necessary for us. Stepped forward. She was holding who was awake now and looking at with curious eyes. You saved our lives, said. You saved our children. We cannot repay that debt, but we can acknowledge it. Did not know what to say. This was not something she was used to. People thanking her, people seeing her. I did what needed to be done. Anyone would have done the same. No, said firmly. No one would have done the same. No one else could have done what you did. You walked into the den of the most dangerous pirate in the galaxy and you talked him into letting us go. That is not something anyone can do. That is something only you can do. Little wiggled in her mother's arms. Can I hug the nice lady? Looked at me, she nodded slowly. Sat down. The little girl walked up to and wrapped her small arms around his legs. She hugged tight. Thank you for saving us, said. Thank you for saving Mayan and Opa. You are my hero. Something moved in his chest. Something she had not felt in a long time. It hurt, but it was a good hurt. She knelt down and hugged back. You are welcome, little one. Be good for your family. I will. Stepped forward next. He did not hug her. He was 12 and too old for that, but he looked at her with serious eyes. I will remember what you said, about listening to people, about finding what they want. I will try to be like you. Do not be like me, said. Be better than me. The galaxy needs people who are better than me. I will try. Ambassador was last. He did not hug her either, but he bowed deeply, a formal bow of respect and gratitude. If you ever need anything, he said, anything at all, the family will be there. We owe you a debt that cannot be repaid, but we will try for the rest of our lives. Looked at this family, a father who had been willing to trade his life for strangers, a mother who had organized the medical care during the crisis, a son who wanted to make the galaxy better, a daughter who called her a hero. This was why she did what she did, not for the thanks, not for the recognition, but for this, for families that stayed together, for children who got to grow up, for lives that continued because she refused to let them end. Thank you, Ambassador. Take care of your family. They are the most precious thing you have. I know, he said, now more than ever. They left, closed the airlock. She sat back in her pilot's seat. For a long moment, she did not move. She just sat there, feeling the warmth of his hug still lingering on her legs. Then she launched the quiet step and flew toward home. 3 weeks later, the news reached the galaxy. Merchant Prince had been robbed. His secret vault had been discovered and emptied. 43 billion credits gone in a single night. Was ruined, his empire collapsed, his allies abandoned him, his enemies closed in. He survived, but he had nothing, nothing except the knowledge that someone had taken everything from him. The pirates were never caught, and his fleet vanished into the outer territories. Some said they retired. Some said they started a new empire with their fortune. No one knew for sure. Park read the news in her small apartment. She sat by the window, drinking tea, watching the stars. Justice had been done, not perfect justice, not clean justice, but justice nonetheless. Had funded the slavers who killed her husband. Now he knew what it felt like to lose everything, to have the universe take everything you loved and leave you with nothing. It was not revenge. Revenge was too small a word. It was balance. It was the scales of the universe finally evening out. Finished her tea. She set down the cup. She looked at the small leather satchel that sat on her shelf, the satchel that had belonged to her husband. "I hope you are proud of me," she said quietly. "I hope I made you proud." There was no answer. There never was. But somehow felt like he was smiling. Her computer beeped. A new message. She walked over and read it. Another crisis. Another impossible situation. Another group of innocent people who needed someone to walk in and save them. Looked at the message for a long time. She was tired, she was old. She had been doing this for so many years. But she thought about little, about her hug, about her bright eyes and her simple words. "You are my hero." Stood up, she walked to her closet. She started packing her bag. Because that was what humans did. That was what made them different from all the other species in the galaxy. They refused to give up. They refused to accept that some problems could not be solved. They refused to stop caring, even when caring cost them everything. The galaxy was full of powerful beings, strong beings, smart beings, beings who lived for centuries and built empires that spanned star systems. But humans had something none of them understood. Stubbornness, hope, the simple, ridiculous belief that one person could make a difference. Park had walked into the Pirate King's ship alone. She had walked out with everyone. And she would keep walking, into every impossible room, through every hopeless crisis, for every innocent person who needed someone to care. That was who she was. That was what humans were. The woman who walks. And she would never stop.